Do you ever wonder what the most successful artists in the world have in common? Well, there are 4 things, and we're going to discuss that today. The most successful artists in the world have hundreds of millions of streams, millions of social media followers. They can sell out arena tours overnight, and there's many things that they have in common. But I today have whittled down 4 of the main things that they have in common, and 4 main things that you guys should be looking at. I actually found it hard to bring it down to 4 main things because these artists have quite a bit in common. Of course, they have that drive, they have that passion for the music, but I've gone a little bit deeper. I've done 4 things that aren't the usual things that you're going to hear from other people, but are what you can be doing and what you can start taking advantage of to be at the level they're at. But it's not something where you can take one of these tips, you can take one of these things that these people are doing and you'll suddenly be successful. It works as a whole. You need to be doing all 4 of these things if you want to be like these huge artists. And when I mean huge, I mean Drake, Childish Gambino, Adele, Ed Sheeran, you name it. Doesn't matter the style, it matters their following, it matters the engagement they're getting, the sales they're getting. And these people are multi-millionaires because of this. So let's kick off with the first thing. And this first thing that all of these successful artists have in common is consistency. And this is for every single part of their music career. Ed Sheeran did a Q&A with a few of his fans, and someone asked what tip he would give to an artist that wants to blow up, that wants to be successful. And he said, do you know the 10,000 hour theory? For those of you that don't know this theory, it's basically the idea that if you dedicate 10,000 hours into something, you become professional at it and you're truly going to be skilled at that thing. So for a musician, this could be 10,000 hours playing guitar. It could be 10,000 hours on a production software. And Ed Sheeran said this 10,000 hour rule is very fitting for musicians because he says that in the early stages, his music was shit. It had nothing to it. The lyrics were bad, his rapping was shocking, and he admits that.
My songs were terrible, my raps were terrible. Like, I've listened to it the other day, it's awful.
But he said he dedicated enough time into creating music, writing lyrics, playing live, that now he feels like he's finally a professional, and he's been playing for years. He also said that he had to stick at it. He did 6 gigs in one day once. How many of you have done that? Consistency is key, and this is for whatever level you're at in your music career and for all parts of your music career. So your release strategy should be consistent. You should be releasing music about once every other month if possible, because those artists are the ones that are going to grow at a rapid rate. The artists that are successful now weren't releasing once a year at the beginning. They were releasing as often as they possibly could, and now they're at this point where if they did release once a year, they're still going to have listeners because they've got such a dedicated fan base. But consistency isn't just key in the music side of things. It's key for your branding, for everything else. So your social media content, that should be consistent. You should be posting as often as you can. You should be engaging with your audience as much as you can. Your live events should be consistent. Everything in your music career needs to be consistent, because if you get to a point where you're not being consistent, your audience are going to go find another musician. There are so many songs out there. There are so many artists out there that you're competing with millions of others. And if you've got that consistency, at least you're ahead of the game and you're going to keep the audience you've already got and reach a wider audience too. I started with consistency because I truly believe that is the most important one. It holds everything together. It's the glue for your music career. And if you're being consistent, then that's the start of it. You're going to smash it if you keep up with that consistency. The second thing that all of these musicians have in common is a goal. And this goal might be absolutely ridiculous, but if it's something to work towards, then you're going to start taking actions that work towards that goal. For example, that goal might be that you have a very strong message with your music. It might be political. It might be something about gender. But if you have a goal and you want your music to portray that message, you'll find that every release you're doing, each campaign is pushing to push out that message to a larger audience. Or perhaps your goal is to one day play Madison Square Garden, or perhaps it's to get a certain amount of streams. If your overall goal is realistic but also a massive challenge, then you'll find that every release, everything you're doing is working towards that, which will mean you're pushing yourself as much as you possibly can. The majority of successful artists have already achieved their goal. They've sold X amount of albums, they've played their largest venues in the world, but there are some artists, the most successful artists in the world, that haven't achieved their goal yet because they made sure that that goal was so out there, it was so large. For example, Lil Nas X, I think the majority of you would know him because he wrote Old Town Road, the track that went viral. He released that song as a bit of fun because he loved making it and he wanted to be a successful musician, but he didn't really have much of a plan with it. It went viral, and from there he started setting goals. He his next album release, he also wanted one of those tracks to go viral. And you will see with his campaign strategies that everything he was doing was working towards getting that track to go viral. And Panini went viral again. And you can see the goal in his mind. You can see it coming into play. You can see the actions that are working towards that goal. And every artist should be doing the same. Even if you think the most successful artists in the world aren't doing this, I promise you they are. And they may not be very vocal about it because they might think it's a little embarrassing to tell people that they've set this goal when they've already achieved so much. But they have. No one's ever going to be truly happy with what they've achieved because they always want to achieve more. So that's why your end goal should be huge. It should be absolutely massive. And after this video, make sure to set it. But if you want a full video of me talking about how you can set goals, what goals you should set to achieve, then make sure to comment below, yes I do. And I'll think about doing one. I'll probably film it within the next few weeks if I get enough comments. The third thing that every successful musician has in common is having a strong brand. And this isn't easy to do, but now these artists have got it. It has led to their success. So right now, think of your favorite artist and you'll be able to think of a font, a color scheme, an image, an overall image that you can think of when you're thinking of that artist, and that's because of their brand. There are many things that successful artists have done to create a strong brand, and emerging artists can be doing this from day one. And a lot of the time, this brand is created on social media. So you need to have a color scheme, you need to have a font, a logo, everything that you want to portray you as an artist. And this brand shouldn't just be fitting to your musical style, your image, your overall personality, but it should also be fitting to your dream target audience. So for example, think of a boy band, think of One Direction. Their branding was so fitting to teenage girls because they knew that was who's gonna buy their merch, their CDs, stream their music. And this should be the same for you. Your target audience may not be teenage girls, but if your target audience is a set age group, a gender, maybe even a certain country which you want to focus on, you need to make sure that your branding is fitting to that. And if you think about it, all of your favorite artists have done exactly that. If you look at the audience they have and look at their branding, they both fit perfectly together. And that's why branding is just so important. So I would suggest working on your branding from day one. Even if you haven't released a song yet, that's completely fine. Look at creating some social media content to create your overall brand with your font, your logo, everything like that. The final thing that every single successful musician has in common is a community that they've created. This is also known as a fan base, but it's most importantly a community. If you look at some of the strongest fan bases in the world, they are such a strong community. And the first one that comes into my head is 21 Pilots. If you look at their fans, they are such a strong community. If you go to a gig for 21 Pilots and you walk past the humongous crowd that have camped overnight, they're very dedicated, you'll see that they're all wearing similar clothes, they're wearing certain makeup, they're all very similar, and that's because 21 Pilots have created a community. And that's why live events are so fantastic, because everyone together as a whole in that venue feels like they know each other. They all have something in common. That's what you need to start creating. You need to make sure that your fan base feel part of a community. So they should be able to make friends with each other, talk about your music, talk about your content, and that's so easy to do with your social media presence. It's similar to YouTubers. If you look at YouTubers, they have a very strong sense of community with their fans because they'll be wearing merch, they'll be able to quote things from videos. They're a lot more interactive, and I think musicians should be doing exactly the same. You should be copying this YouTuber model. You should be engaging with your audience so much, having a personal relationship with them that it feels like a big family. And you may not want to do this, you may not want to be that close with your fans, but I promise you if you're not, it just doesn't work. In the past, it was okay because people like Madonna, the Beatles, ABBA, they had this wall up, they had this separation between their fans, but because of social media, it's not really a thing anymore. People want to be able to engage with their favorite musicians. They want to feel like they know them personally, and those artists that are doing that are the most successful ones in the world. Those are the four main things that I think every single major artist is doing right now. And of course, as I said at the beginning, there are many others like having good music and playing live, but those are the ones that I think that you can bring across to your music career and make relevant to you. And that's why I thought it was so important. I know you guys are intelligent enough to make good music and be playing that music live, so I wanted to have something that was a little bit different to all the other videos on YouTube and would actually be useful to you. And I hope it was. And if you did find it that little bit useful, make sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't joined the community yet, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified when we upload. And if you want to be more personal with us, you want to be part of our community, you can hit follow on our Instagram account where we're putting out content daily. We'll be in your DMs if you want to ask us any questions. And we also go live occasionally. So make sure to get involved. I hope you found this video useful and we'll be back soon with more music marketing advice.